my show had value and that I'm sorry.
Welcome back to Inside the Delegates. Yes, my friends, y'all know it is not possible for us not to talk about our sister, Joy Reid. That our show was cancelled on MSNBC, and this news is trending right now, and it is not possible for us not to bring it down here to add our comment to her. She went on Black Horn YouTube channel that y'all saw right there, and she just was emotionally down. You know what I mean? But one thing she stood on is she is not apologizing for the way she defended a topic on her show. You know what I mean? Yes, I am gonna play y'all the rest of that episode from Black on YouTube channel that she went to talk on, like the podcast. I'm gonna play y'all the rest of that at the end of this segment, but before we do that, MSNBC gave Joy Reid an opportunity to wrap up our show one more time. They just gave her one more time, and trust me, our sister Joy Reid, she speaks to power.
Happy Monday, everyone, and we begin tonight with what I think is the question. When you are in the midst of a crisis, and specifically a crisis of democracy, how do you resist? When fascism isn't just coming, it's already here. So what, if anything, can you do about it? Well, for one thing, you can try to learn from history, from what people in this situation in countries around the world and in America have done before. As my friend Rachel Maddow always says, history is here to help. America hasn't always been a free country for everyone, and we've had resistance movements from day one. From enslaved people fighting their captivity. Shout out to Harriet Tubman, who was a 92%er before 92%ing was cool. And even taking up arms during the Civil War. To the women's movement and the workers' rights movement and the Stonewall gay rights movement. They've all been versions of the fight to make this a free country for everyone and to have a true multiracial democracy. And that is history's most important lesson, right? That the most important thing, the first rule, is to fight back, to never stop resisting. Do not obey in advance, as Tim Snyder put it. Do not take the knee, to throw in a Game of Thrones reference. Even if it's scary or uncomfortable or inconvenient, just keep saying no, or finding creative ways to say no in small ways and large. Medgar Evers said, do not shop where they will not employ you. Dr. King championed the Montgomery bus boycotts to become the leader of the civil rights movement. The labor rights movement shut down factories and hobbled industries to win the 40-hour work week that you enjoy right now, and more recently to ensure the right of workers to work from home during COVID. People have marched against the Vietnam War and the war in Iraq and against the decimation of Gaza using our tax dollars. You don't always win every battle, but the whole thing is about resisting.
I don't know about y'all, but what I heard from our sister Joy Reid is MSN can take away our show, but they cannot take away her voice. Yes, MSNBC gave her the last chance to say something, but oh boy, she used it. She used it. And I'm gonna play y'all the clip from the Black Horn YouTube channel that she went on to speak again. Because even though she was emotionally down, but she is still speaking. She is still speaking, and she is not going to apologize for how she has defended the topics that she defended on her show. But I want y'all to listen to the way she said it, for y'all to know that it's like she saw this coming. Maybe there might be a time from why she had a show, maybe after the show, like she saw this coming one day. I'm gonna play y'all Enjoy from Sister Joy Reid.
My show had value and that I'm sorry. That what I was doing had value. Had value. And in the end, I'm sorry, I try not to cry on TV. And I think this is kind of like me on TV, so I apologize. And that it mattered. I see Karen is there, and she's been texting me as well. And so what I will just say is that in the end, thank you. Where I land is that the moment of guilt that I felt that I went hard on so many issues, whether it was the Black Lives Matter issues of a young baby or a mom or a dad that was killed, or when we opened up people's eyes to the fact that Asian Americans were being targeted and not just Black folks, that or went hard for immigrants who've done nothing but come to this country like my parents did and try to make a life and defended them, or whether we've talked about what the president is doing that is subversive to the Constitution, that is injurious to our liberty, defending books that people find inconvenient, that Nicole Hannah-Jones put into our spirit, that we need to understand 1619 as the real founding of this country, whether it's talking about any of these issues, and yes, whether it's talking about Gaza and the fact that we as the American people have a right to object to little babies being bombed. And where I come down on that is I'm not sorry. I am not sorry that I stood up for those things, because those things are of God. And I'm a church girl too, and those are the things that I was taught were of God. And so I'm not sorry. I'm just proud of my show.
Can y'all now see that I believe that our sister Joy Reid had the idea of when the organization started having issue with her. As y'all heard what she said, that the only time she remembered that she went so hard was when she was talking about the kids being, that's a no-no, that she is a Christian and she just had to speak truth to power. I think at that time was when she is having the sense of maybe the organization didn't liking the way she came forcefully about that topic. You know what I mean? But I am going to play a colleague, Rachel Maddow. I am giving it to her because she is kind of a sister that you need at your workplace. She is kind of a friend that you need in your life. Rachel Maddow, she used her voice. She spoke out and she defended her colleagues. You know what I mean? And she did it right on the network that it's still paying her bills. You know what I mean? I just give it to her and I think it is worth listening to. Rachel Maddow, yo, take a listen. And I just say, I give it to her. I give it to her.
I'm going to take a little point of personal privilege here just for a moment, if it is okay with you. You may have already heard about changes that have been announced at MSNBC over the last couple of days. The new president of our network made it official today. Some of our shows are moving to different time slots or expanding or going away altogether. In primetime, just so you know, I am here 5 days a week for the first 100 days of Trump's presidency, as planned. And as planned, I will go back to just Mondays after that. That is not changing. An even bigger programming change is at 7 p.m. 7 p.m. Eastern. Reid's show, The Readout, ended tonight. And Joy is not taking a different job in the network. She is leaving the network altogether. And that is very, very, very hard to take. I am 51 years old. I have been gainfully employed since I was 12. And I have had so many different kinds of jobs, you wouldn't believe me if I told you. But in all of the jobs I have had, in all of the years I have been alive, there is no colleague for whom I have had more affection and more respect than Joy Reid. I love everything about her. I have learned so much from her. I have so much more to learn from her. I do not want to lose her as a colleague here at MSNBC. And personally, I think it is a bad mistake to let her walk out the door. It is not my call, and I understand that, but that's what I think. Unnerving to see that on a network where we've got two non-white hosts in primetime, both of our non-white hosts in primetime are losing their shows, as is Katie Fang on the weekend. And that feels worse than bad, no matter who replaces them. That feels indefensible, and I do not defend it. But there's just one other piece of it that you should know. from your side of the TV screen, you will mostly see changes in terms of who's in the anchor chair. And actually, everybody who's going to be in anchor chairs from here on are great colleagues and great at what they do. And you are not going to be disappointed in who's on our air and what you're going to be seeing. But one thing you cannot necessarily see is that the people who get our shows on the air, they're really being put through the ringer. Dozens of producers and staffers, including some who are among the most experienced and most talented and most specialist producers in the building, are facing being laid off. They're being invited to reapply for new jobs. That has never happened at this scale in this way before when it comes to programming changes, presumably because it's not the right way to treat people, and it's inefficient, and it's unnecessary, and it kind of drops the bottom out of whether or not people feel like this is a good place to work, and so we don't generally do things that way. Maybe all of our folks, including most of the people who are getting this very show on the air right now, maybe they will all get new jobs here, and I hope they do, but in the meantime, being put in this kind of limbo, the anxiety and the discombobulation is off the charts at a time when this job already is, but it does not need to be this difficult. We welcome new voices to this place and some familiar voices to new hours. It's going to be great, honestly, and we want to grow and succeed and reach more people than ever and be resilient and stay here forever. I also believe, and I bet you believe, that the way to get there is by treating people well. Finding good people, good colleagues, doing good work with them, and then having their back. That we could do a lot better on.
Can somebody give Rachel Maddow? She deserves an award for that. This is what we call a friend. This is what we call a colleague. She is using the network that is still paying her bills to call out how she feels about letting a colleague go. No. Do we understand this? This is true friendship right here. This is a true colleagues that I would say everybody, all of us needs in our workplace. That we just have our back. She's a friend and she's a colleague. You know, for her to want to like speak truth to power on the same network that let a friend and a colleague go, but she still used that same platform. Call it out the way it is. I respect her. What do you guys think? Let's continue the conversation down there in the comment section. Do y'all think MSNBC going to feel it in their pocket for letting Sister Joy Reid go? But one thing I learned is Sister Joy Reid and the rest of the colleagues on MSNBC, they know what's up. They know what's up. If y'all listen to how they put it, especially Rachel, that for sure we do not expect the journalists to be there forever, but at least treat them with respect. I will catch up with you guys later as usual. Please, let's respect ourselves while we comment. Thank you so much to all my return subscribers, and I say bye for now.